Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We call the meeting to order. The Village of Saybrook respectfully acknowledge that we are gathered on the land of the unceded territory of the Comox First Nations, the traditional keepers of this land. Call to order. The public input is for the purpose of permitting people in the gallery to provide feedback. Should be no longer than 15 minutes unless approved by the majority council vote. Each speaker may provide a respectful comment on any topic they deem appropriate and not necessarily topics of the agenda of the meeting. Each speaker may not speak longer than 2 minutes, but may have a second opportunity if time permits. Each speaker must not be allowed to speak in regarding a bylaw that a public hearing has been held. For the record, please state your name and address.
Hello, I'm Sarah Levine from 441 McMillan Drive, and I am hoping to receive approval for a mural project. We would like to paint a mural on the wall, the 12-foot by 7-foot wall in the Kelsey Center lobby between the two washrooms. The paint for this project has been donated by Details Painting in Nanaimo. They've donated 10 sample cans of varying colors. The paint brand will be Sherwin-Williams acrylic paint. I have 5 local artists working on the concept. This is what we've come up with. So this is the silhouette of Mount Kusum. We have some grizzly bears here in the middle. A circle of people just to show, some community here. The trees that will be down at the bottom are drawn by local community children. And then the rays of sunshine will be filled in with community events and activities that are offered at the Kelsey Center, including Christmas party and crib and the Halloween haunted house. We're not sure if words would be on there, but if there'll be room, but we were thinking if there are, it would say bringing unity back to community, just to bring a little bit of good vibes. That's the whole goal. And yeah, I don't know what we need for approval or if we can have approval for that, but that's why I'm here
Okay,
today.
sorry, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, your microphone, please.
Sorry, I originally understood that the mural project and the proposal was for the ball diamond. Did that shifted to the lobby? Or is it separate?
I believe that the ball diamonds would be a great idea. It seemed like there was more complications there with regards to just protecting the murals and the cost of that. I also thought the Kelsey Center could just use something nice and bright in a project that couldn't bring people there just for something exciting and positive. So, yeah.
Okay, Councilor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would this be appropriate time to put a notice of motion for discussion of this on the next agenda?
Put it under late items, you mean? Or introduction of new items?
No, just put this on the next agenda for council to discuss moving forward with this proposal.
That can be done. Go ahead.
I've seen just lately 2 different proposals. Okay.
Would be we're looking for local Indigenous artists who might want to contribute something, and we thought maybe the Bears or I don't know. After? Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you'll have a conversation. Okay,
We'll plan for follow-up at our future council meeting. We'll refine the plan. We'll put it in the package. Council will have an opportunity to review it.
perfect. It looks good, by the way.
Having problems in the back hearing.
You,
Oh, okay.
can you hear now? Can you hear me speak? No? Test, test. Now you're going to be wanting him to turn it down. Hey, anyone else? No? Okay, introduction of late items. None. Approval of agenda. That the agenda for the regular council meeting for March 18th, 2025 be approved as presented. Do you have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Minutes of previous. That the minutes from the committee of the whole meeting held on January 14th, 2025 be adopted. Motion, please.
Move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on February 4th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Okay. First, we need a motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
thank you. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Johnson.
Thanks very much. If I can bring your attention to 5B, February 4th meeting motion. That's going to be on page 9.
Oh, up to page 15, 17.
No, sorry, that's going to be of your package, page 10. I see that R25 50 for a motion number. No vote was called on that. I'm just wondering if that needs to come back, or is the CEO satisfied that there was an invite and attendance and a motion is not required?
It doesn't hurt if council was to vote on it in the future.
In that case, can I move that come forward again for next meeting? Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. C, that the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on February 11th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
Move that.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. That the minutes of the re-meeting held on March 11th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Microphone there.
Yep, I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held December 5th, 2023 be adopted as presented. Motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion. Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Regarding the December 5th, 2023 meeting, with regards to question on our package, page 27, motion R23/287, that staff bring back to council an in-camera meeting recording policy by June 30th, 2024. Just asking through the mayor to staff if we're going to have that back or we're going to see that before council.
This resolution was passed December 2023 for a deadline of June 2024. Since then, council is aware that much has happened, including various staff changes. I don't yet have an update as to when we will complete the regular public agenda. And once that is done, we'll be able to move into the in-camera minutes, sorry, is what I was saying. I don't know yet when we're going to complete the public set of minutes that are outstanding. Once that is done, we will shift our focus to the in-camera minutes. Once that is done, we'll be in a position to do rise and report.
Thank you.
Still can't hear him.
You still can't hear? Test, test. Testing. Can you hear me now? You got it? Okay, thank you. Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On page 26 of these minutes that we're considering at the moment, number 12, staff reports, the Fire Protection Services Agreement. This never did come back to council. It was says that council directs staff to further investigate the concept of a sub-regional service model for fire protection through the SRD for the village of Sayward and Sayward Valley Area A, and that further a report be prepared for the council's consideration on December 19th, 2023. And I think that would probably fall under the same coverage as the one that Councillor Burchett just brought forward. Once we have a rise and report, we have never had a report on what was in the sub-regional model. And I think I've asked a few times to have the CAO from SRD to come, and he had said that he would put on a public information so that all the public can hear exactly how much this service is going to cost us, changing from what it was in the previous way it was set up.
I think all that has been done, other than the public hearing, but every council got all the information on what it was going to cost.
There's never been a public hearing
Not a public hearing. No.
for the public information meeting, which was part of what was included in the directions for bringing it forward and letting the public know what it was going to cost.
CAO. Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have we not already done this service agreement with our fire protection?
Mm-hmm. Hey, CAO.
My understanding, since joining in September last year, council did ultimately finalize its decision on the model with the SRD for the fire service. That transition took place on January 1st officially. There is still a lot of untangling, shall we say, required over the course of this year to finalize that transition, of course, so that there is no interruption in service provision to the community. You are correct, Councillor Paulson, that there wasn't a public open house session on this particular topic. We have sent out information to the community in the December newsletter about that topic. We also have had a meeting with SRD CAO and other staff members from the SRD directly with the fire department to talk about the nuances openly, but that conversation hasn't happened with the public.
So my question is, will it happen in the future? Even though it's, we were without a contract for 6 months and then transitioned into the January 1st. And the CAO of SRD was supposed to bring that forward before the contract was was signed and accepted.
Go ahead. Microphone, please.
I can certainly follow up with the SRD on plans for completing the transition, which could also include a public information session. I think it would also be valuable if Director Wally would attend that as well, because he's the electoral area representative. And I understand that some of the nuances around financial commitments were also driven by conversation from him. So I think it would be valuable for him to be there.
Thank you. Okay, so we're on E. Did we do a resolution on D? Yes? Thank you. That the minutes of regular council meeting held on December 5th, 2023 be adopted as presented. I need a motion, please. I'm sorry? We're down to the vote. Good. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. F, that the minutes of the special council meeting held on February 13th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
I'll move that motion.
Thank you. Second,
No second.
any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Petition delegations, Oscar Day Slow Pitch Society, Barb Hubbard. Oh, you're going to take it. Please introduce yourselves, gentlemen, when you get to the mic.
Yeah, okay. I'm Kirk Bittman. This is
Dan Smart.
we're here for Oscar Days. We'd like to continue to see this wonderful tradition of the Sayward Valley continue from the future.
Yeah, we have a letter of ask here. We're asking for a standing approval to use the ball fields ongoing until council decides to revoke the use of it. We are also asking for we're asking to continue with the $60 per team camping fee, similar to what we charged last year. We're also asking for the use of the set showers at the Kelsey Center. We'd like to keep the quiet time of the 1 a.m. curfew that we had last year to stand. And then our last point here was that all of the liability insurance is on our base. We cover all the liability for the tournament. The other point that we're bringing to the table too is we're looking at maintaining the field and infrastructure that we are using with our own funds, with the support of the Village of Sayward, with whatever is able to be provided without unjust costs to the village. I think that's the last point. But yeah, that's basically where we're at now, and we'd like to continue to grow what we've been growing in the community, and can continue to promote health, wellness, and recreation.
Sounds good. CAO.
The Oscar Days Committee or society have been meeting with the village, myself, various recreation and public works staff over the last number of months to talk about their plans for the upcoming events this year. We've looked at safety issues, including the ball field. There are lots of different topography in that field that needs to be addressed in order to improve the field for the users, but also Oscar Days team has offered to do that at their expense, which is great, to address a municipal maintenance issue. It's just a matter of the village providing them with written permission to do so from an operational perspective. The sprinkling, watering of the field is something that has been raised, and we're going to look at trying to support that this year where we can, absolutely. The use of the Kelsey Center showers, we understand from discussions that showering was not necessarily an amenity that was readily available for the tournament. We're looking at ways to improve that in the community. And so we're looking at some sort of fee-for-service model to use the Kelsey Center washrooms as an option. This also helps improve safety elements of the tournament by people not using outdoors necessarily within the village as a mechanism for relieving themselves. We're also looking at washroom maintenance schedules to make sure that the facilities that we do have on offer are in acceptable conditions throughout the tournament. The request is a standing request rather than having to come back to council on an annual basis. It provides certainty to the planners. It provides certainty to the village about what is going to happen in the community. The fee model is basically representative of what has been approved in the past by the village in support of the tournament in particular. We have also received an emergency response plan from Oscar Day's team, which is awesome. And we're also talking about other safety measures, particularly around the pond where the camping will be, because we know lots of alcohol or there might be different levels of sobriety in the community at that time, and we want to make sure that the pond does not become a tragedy. How about that? And from a village perspective, you know, I think they've worked really hard to come to this point. They've brought forward a proposal. I think from a staffing administration, we appreciate the work they're doing and we support, we would recommend that council support them.
Thank you. Is now an appropriate time for a resolution? Do you have questions, Councillor Paulson?
Thank you.
Councillor Coates?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to really thank you for getting your application in early. It's greatly appreciated, so we have time to iron out all the kinks and everything. It was a little bit of a slow start last year, and so this is really good to be early like this year. I just had a couple of questions, probably directed to the CAO. Would there be specific times for the showers to be used and for staff to be present to oversee that who's coming and going in the building? That's one question. And also, it says in your request that you're hoping to have vendors this year. So will those vendors be required to get have business permits for the days that they're here? I know that's been been in place before. And also the just to clarify what the starting to fill up the campsite, is there a time to start? Like, I know a few years ago there were people coming on Monday and Tuesday and parking their camping stuff there so that they got a good spot. So is I know it starts at 6 o'clock on Friday, I think. So would Thursday or Friday be an appropriate time to have people come in and register? And also about the vendors, if they would need access to power and water and things. So we need to consider that through Public Works too. Just a few points. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, for the questions. On the first one on scheduling for the bathroom, we are working to develop a schedule for the bathroom, and it will be a controlled process rather than just leaving it open unattended. On the business permit, I think that question was answered by our colleague in the back here, who is also a member of the team, Aggie. Start time, we would not be able to police when people arrive in the community. If they wish to arrive earlier and use the camping facility, they will be charged no different than any other person using the facility. And if that bleeds into the tournament, I guess a few more dollars for the village, that we wouldn't be able to necessarily manage.
On the early arrival of the campers, usually it's the committee members that are down there setting up the fields and making sure that everything is ready to go for the tournament and make sure everybody's happy and we usually lay claim to our spot first, more or less, but yeah, myself, Kirk, Marina and Brittany, we all kind of congregate down there to make sure that everything's all set up and make sure everything's safe before the tournament starts on Friday. And then all of our fees are basically paid to what the village standards are previous to the weekend, and then we incorporate our team fees as to reflect our Oscar Days schedule.
Perfect. Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hi, guys. I just have a couple questions. And I saw on the map that you're getting porta potties, correct? So bathrooms are looked after, plus the ones over at the ball field and the ones over here, right? So that's okay. So basically you're looking for like showers, correct? Okay, so that was one question. Thank you that you answered. With the fields, that's great. I'm just wondering if there's any labor expected from the village to do that.
We're not expecting a lot from the village. We know that, as a village, the funds are not always allocated to what we particularly want. So what we've kind of as a society, what we've done is we've almost assumed the financial role of what we're looking at doing. So anything that we would need above and beyond, we would definitely come back to the village for an ask that is out of the maintenance parameters. And then we would formulate what kind of funding we would need going forward. And if that was in either our budget or in the budget of the village, or if it was part of the public works, just maintenance package that they would provide to the village. And so basically no cost to the village if it's not necessary.
And then my other question is, are any donations coming back from the tournament to nonprofit organizations in Sayward?
We have, when we can donate money, unfortunately, the tournament doesn't generate a lot of income, and we're trying to invest as much back into the field as we can. But we have donated in the past, to various charities in the community, the medical center. We've donated to Wounded Warriors, the food bank. I'm drawing a blank on more, but we have donated where we can. But now we're focusing more on the field maintenance rather than donating, because at this point we don't have enough income to do both at the same time. We have to do one or the other, and the fields need to be fixed to attract people to come to play, because unfortunately your fields are in very poor shape, and it happens, and we would like to resolve that, because when I was a kid growing up here, those were beautiful fields. That was a beautiful field, and it breaks my heart when I see it every time. And when you pull up Google Maps, that's a big brown field from space, and you don't want that. You want to attract people here. That's not the way to do it. I'm not saying it's you guys' fault. I'm just saying, like.
Well, actually, it is the village's fault for not maintaining the fields, so I will say that. Because I ran Oscar Days for 17, 20 years, right? So a little bit of water, and I thank you guys for what you're wanting to do with the fields, and hope it's a success.
Councillor Johnson.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. Thanks for coming for sure. Just a couple of quick questions. I think a standing letter just perfectly makes sense, but the one thing I would ask, and maybe older CAO, is just to confirm the actual dates, maybe in the first quarter at some point, and then any R&M that you need to do joint, just so that's known in advance. The question I have around is VHA. Any food truck is going to be VHA registered anyway, but that responsibility to ensure that will probably fall on you, and that's fine. Yeah, that's something that you had prepared for. And then the last one is, we had garbages, and I think even recycles, but definitely garbages sponsored in the past. And is your intent to do that again this year? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Okay, Councillor Bichette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here tonight and bringing your letter. The one thing that is a little surprising is the ask for the amount for camping. I originally thought it was $60 per team per night, but it's for the whole weekend. In my opinion, it's a little low, but in lieu of that, would you consider telling the teams to come bring a perishable item for our food bank? Or sorry, a non-perishable item for our food bank in lieu of such low fees for camping? Something to consider?
Absolutely, we'll put that forward. Yeah, $60 for the weekend and non-perishable items. We can absolutely do that, and I don't think that'll be an ask at all.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, any additional questions? Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I will move that we accept the proposal as written. We will get further information year by year for the standing as discussed during the course of this meeting. But the motion will read, sorry about that. Motion that I'm putting forward is that we accept their proposal for Oscar Days as written.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you. BCEHS, Community Paramedics, Greg, Aggie, and Nathaniel. Please. Thank you, sir.
Hi, everyone. My name is Greg Litchke. I am the relatively newly appointed community paramedic in Sayward. I brought my unit chief, Aggie, and my manager, Nat, with me. And I'm coming before you today to provide an overview of the community paramedic program that is provided by BC Ambulance. Some of you may already be familiar with the program, but like I said, I'll give a brief overview and then open up to any questions and sort of give some insight on the services I can provide to the Village of Sayward and the Greater Sayward Valley. So the BC Ambulance, BC Emergency Health Services Community Paramedicine Program consists of 4 pillars. Community outreach is the primary one. It's sort of what I'm doing tonight, is to raise awareness of the program. I've already been in contact with some other societies in Sayward, like the Sayward Community Food Table Society, and just to gain some insight on the gaps in healthcare that are required or that are missing in Sayward. The second pillar is health promotion. So I go into public places and provide things like naloxone education, CPR, AED training, diet, diabetes education, just health education that improves the well-being of the residents of Sayward. The third pillar is wellness clinics, sort of tied in with health promotion. I can provide vital signs clinics, diabetes clinics where I check people's blood sugar. Those are the sort of things, to fill a gap, because I'm aware that access to healthcare is a barrier in Sayward. So I can at least give people, some sort of a screening tool for their health in the community. And then the fourth pillar, which I consider to be more so the sort of the meat and potatoes of the program, is wellness visits. And so in connection with the various, stakeholders or interest holders in the health authority, I create a network of contacts with family doctors and clinicians that come out to Sayward, and they refer patients to me. And then from there, I do regular house visits to check on primarily elderly people or people living with chronic health conditions like congestive heart failure, diabetes, frailty, that sort of thing. So I do weekly checks or biweekly, depending on the client's needs. And I provide a variety of different assessments and things like that to the members of the community, reporting all of my findings back to their primary healthcare provider. and then also identifying their needs in terms of home supports and things like that, and connecting them to those resources. In the information packet that I gave you, it's a little bit of a dated document. However, it does provide the history of the program from 2016 to now, as well as some of the finer points of my scope of practice and the actual medical skills that I can provide to the residents of Sayward. There are some changes for those of you who may have heard this presentation before. So before, based on our staffing and that sort of thing, it was a different shift pattern for how the community paramedic functions in the community. So now I'm full-time dedicated to this position, Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. So I'm in the community all week, except for the weekend, of course. Some other changes is that as this program grows, my level of education, or the education of all community paramedics, continues to increase. They continue to add new tools, assessment tools to my tool belt, services I can provide. We're going a lot more into palliative care and providing palliative supports for people as well. So yeah, that in a nutshell is the community paramedic program. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think it's excellent in giving people the opportunity to stay at home.
That's right.
So that's commendable, and I'm grateful for it.
Yes, reducing hospitalizations, 911 calls, and allowing people to live healthy in their homes as long as possible is the goal of this program.
So for them to contact you for a weekly visit, for a patient to contact you for a weekly visit, how do they go about that?
Yeah, so the referral process primarily goes through their family doctor. So they would call or visit their family doctor, and then they would ask to be referred to the community paramedic program. I've also started creating connections with various clinics in Campbell River. So physicians or any healthcare provider, home support nurses, can initiate a referral themselves if they think that my services would benefit the patient. So it can go either way. It can be either from the patient to patient-led, or it can be provider-led. And then the referral goes to coordinators that work in our program, and then I receive sort of a wait list, and I go through and make sure that this is a service I can provide. And then from there, I contact the patient and we work out the visit schedule.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Councillor Johnson.
And I apologize, this isn't about the service itself, but more a question for you. Is housing continuing to be a problem for the paramedic service here in Sayward? And is that, do you forecast any service challenges due to housing? Luckily, we have people living right in the community, so thank you for that, but yeah.
Take that one.
Yes, housing is an ongoing concern. We do not foresee any service gaps as a result of that. Our staffing levels are excellent. We currently only have one vacancy. That being said, our April schedule is full, so I don't anticipate any gaps in service from the ambulance service about the housing issue. And there are several irons in the fire right now to hopefully improve the situation for staff housing. There are 3 of us that currently live in the community, and there are a couple that are looking at moving here as well. So we do have things that are on the go, and I don't anticipate seeing any problems because of staffing issues because of housing.
Perfect. Any additional questions, Council? Nope. Thank you very much. That was excellent.
Thank you. And in that packet as well, I have my card. If you have any questions, you can reach me by phone, email. I'm very accessible Monday to Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got their phone on.
Pardon me?
Somebody's got their phone on.
Is it ringing? Okay, correspondence. The council receives this correspondence for information from the city of Abbotsford, Mayor Ross. Generally, what we do is we read it from any correspondence that needs to be pulled from A to E. Pardon me? They're not coming. Yeah. Yeah, C's not coming. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering if we should do these individually because some do have possible motions attached.
Yeah, we can. Okay, so the first one, A, is the council receives correspondence for information, and council supports the following resolution as approved by the City of Abbotsford Council, whereas the Government of BC introduced the Housing Supply Act in 2023 and has since required multiple specified municipalities to review and update their rezoning bylaw by December 31st, 2025 to permit increased density in line with government mandated housing targets. Whereas the increased housing density requirements for these specific, can't even speak anymore, municipalities under undue financial pressure on those local governments due to corresponding infrastructure upscaling requirements. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Union of BC Municipalities work with the Government of BC to establish and provide long-term, stable, predictable infrastructure funding for municipalities to address these challenges. I don't see an ask in there.
The request is for various municipalities across the province to consider this resolution that City of Abbotsford had made in order to, I guess, advocate to the province for a change in their approach.
Okay, so do we have a resolution?
Sorry, I would move that we support this, support the City of Abbotsford in this request.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed, the motion is carried. B, the UBCM President for Renewal Membership. The council receives this correspondence for information and the council directs staff to renew the Village of UBCM membership. Council? Councilor Burchett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we pay our membership fee.
Second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Saybrook Futures. The council receives this correspondence for information and the council endorsed the support for Saybrook Futures Society as the designated organization responsible for providing visitor services in the community, and that this endorsement remains in effect until the village decides otherwise.
At this time, I will recuse myself, not for the belief that there's conflict of interest, but the belief that there's a perceived conflict of interest.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second that motion.
Discussion? Councilor Burchett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I joined the Village of Saybrook Council in November 2022, I was keen on being a council liaison for Saybrook Future Society. There are many sponsored activities that I was enjoying volunteering for, and they were well received within the community. It was not long before some cracks formed in relationships with volunteers and the board of directors where the direction of Saybrook Future Society was going. I was removed by the board as a voting member so that I could vote for Saybrook Futures initiatives in my council role as to not have a conflict of interest. I resigned from Saybrook Future Society as I did not support how it was being operated and how people were being treated. I will not be supporting any initiative for Saybrook Future Society at this current time for the following reasons. Saybrook Future Society has refused to let me look at the meeting minutes when I recently asked. Saybrook Future Society has refused to let me look at the financials of their operations so I can make the best decisions for my constituents when there is an ask of support. I witnessed and was subject to harassment from one of their employees. I witnessed numerous times the bad mouthing of current village council members and volunteers. Many great community volunteers have quit over this. Many staff have quit working for Sayard Future Society because of bad working conditions. The engagement letter for support for information for the information center was given in December of 2024, and a reminder letter was given in January 2025. So the lateness of this is not on the village council here to support it quickly, but it should have been brought to our attention in a proper manner. Until there are major changes of how Sayard Future Society operates and conduct business, I will not be supporting them for any initiative.
Thank you. Any other further discussion? Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd ask that we could break down the recommendations into 3 separate recommendations that we can vote on, because the third one says that this endorsement remains in effect until the village decides otherwise. And we have a contract or an agreement with the Share Shed, and every year it is renewed. They put in an annual report and renew it, and split the funding with what they take in, 80% for the Legion and 20% for the village to oversee the costs of hydro and the building and keeping that building running over that they use. So I would agree to having this letter required annually rather than leaving it open-ended with the village having this in effect until the village decides otherwise. And I do have some concerns that Sayard Futures eliminated the Village of Sayard liaison position on their board of directors, and now want the responsibility for Canada Day celebrations. They just intend to make the village responsible for taking that on. And historically, Sayard Futures has been sponsoring and providing all the Canada Day celebrations with no cost to the community. And I understand that they're short of volunteers and directors, but that's a plague in Sayard, that every organization is short of volunteers and people to come out and work. And so I'm asking that we consider each point separately. That we receive the correspondence, and that we endorse and support Sayard Future Society as a designated organization. But the third one, that the endorsement is reviewed annually.
Okay, so we'll start off with Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do support Sayard Futures. Village doesn't have much to offer here in the village as far as business goes. That wharf is important to the whole community. It's also an important asset to the village of Sayard. It's one thing that draws people down here. We've seen by some of the numbers that they've showed that it has increased with their visitors. And I think it's a good thing for our community as well as for the village of Sayard. Things have happened in the past with mostly every organization here in Sayard. And I think we need to decide what's best for the village of Sayard. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Councillor Coates that the wharf is an invaluable resource for the citizens of Sayard. But unfortunately this year, Sayard Future Society allowed a barge to dock at its wharf, which caused damage and was beaching itself and causing damage to sensitive marine habitat. And I don't,
CAO.
I just want to remind council that the discussion is veering off into unrelated matters than what's on the agenda.
I would just like to reiterate that the actions of Sayard Future Society has had detrimental effects on the wharf and on the usage. So I don't like the direction that it's gone in since I was on the board of directors. I have concerns what's going on now. I have concerns that they won't even release financial information or minutes to me as a sitting council member who was a liaison on their board. That's huge. What's going on there? So I question the integrity of the board of Sayard Futures. And I caution this council that we do the right thing and make sure that we do our due diligence to understand what's going on. So if we're not able to see financials or minutes, how are we able to support an organization?
Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong through to the CAO, this council has not asked for any financials or any minutes, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Councillor Paulson.
Just as a point to Councillor Coates' last comment, we have had financials from Sayard Futures when they have applied. That's part of the requirement when they apply for a
Tax exemption.
tax exemption.
Councillor Coates.
Then the council should have that information, is what I'm thinking, if that has been in the past. And also, we just, at this table, gave Oscar Days, a committee that comes once a year, and I love it, and it's great for our community. But we've said that we approved that they don't have to get a letter every year. And now we're asking a society that's part of our village, that's within our village, that they need to come back year after year after year. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Coates. I think it's redundant for them to come back annually. I don't think it's a big ask. That it remains in fact until the village decides otherwise. So, Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The requirements for Destination BC is that the society apply every year annually to keep the I letter. So they will need to come back every year to get a letter of support.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. Correct?
My understanding is Councillor Coates had moved. I interpret that as the whole motion, the three parts. Councillor Paulson seconded. Councillor Paulson also expressed an interest to break it up. So I'm not clear what motion is on the floor. And if there's a desire to go in a different direction, I would ask that it be withdrawn and be very clear and specific.
Okay, so I would suggest that we be clear and specific. The council receives this correspondence for information. Let's go to individual line by line. I need a motion on that, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that motion.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed, the motion's carried. The council endorses the supported Sayard Futures as the designated organization responsible for providing the visitor center service in the community. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that motion.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. The motion is carried. That this endorsement remains in effect until the village decides otherwise.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I don't think we have, as a matter of record, the vote of Councillor Paulson on the last motion.
The last motion was the council endorsed supports Sayward Future Society as designated organization responsible for providing visitor services in the community. You're in favor? Thank you. Okay, last is this endorsement remains in effect until the village decides otherwise. Do you have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Two opposed, the motion's defeated. Sorry, go ahead. Siri didn't understand you. Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that Sayward Future Society has to submit a request for endorsement on an annual basis when they get their request from Destination BC to apply for the designation of the I tourism letter.
Is there a second?
I'll move that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? One opposed, the motion's carried. Sayward Futures, there's another correspondence. The council receives this correspondence for information on D. Okay, so do I have a motion to receive, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
I'm opposed.
You're opposed to receipt?
Just, no, I seconded the motion to receive it.
Yes.
Yes.
And now you're opposed, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, have we had discussion?
Yes, but we can have further discussion if you require.
I can't support Sayward Futures turning the Canada Day and the light up over to the village as without discussing with Sayward Village, with Village Council about their intent in doing that. And again, they say that they're short of volunteers and capacity, like everyone in the community is. And I just don't want to accept on behalf of council taking on the role of Canada Day providing Canada Day, and I did that for 6 years, and I know exactly how much work it is, and council doesn't have the capacity either. So that's why I'm voting against it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is just on receipt. Whether or not Canada Day is pleaded by whomever doesn't really matter on whether we receive this document or not. It won't change the outcome. Is that correct? CAO?
You are correct, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Paulson, to answer your question, this is a letter informing the village of a decision the Sayward Future Society has made. This goes to relationship. I think it is evident that the relationship between SFS and the village is not necessarily as strong as it could be, in light of the recent discussions, for example. They have made 3 attempts in 2024, I think the fall of 2024, to get council to make a decision on something related to, I believe it was the Christmas Day parade. It sounds like the governance process within the village is creating unfortunate challenges for SFS in terms of delivering programs. The Canada Day parade, Christmas light up, these are Village of Sayward initiatives, village itself, not SFS, in the sense, I know they historically have done it, but what I'm saying is they don't have any ownership of it. It's a community initiative by the Village of Sayward. And they're now saying they are unable to provide that on a go-forward basis. So the question eventually will become, does the Village of Sayward deliver it, or is that the end of those programs?
Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the mayor to the CAO. The light up parade was started 3 years ago by the fire department. And
The celebration inside was started by myself and council to have the light up, the prizes given out, not by the fire department, not by Sayward Futures.
The competition or the lights judging was done by the Area A director and the mayor and any member of council that wanted to participate in it. But the first year that it started, when the firemen were advertising that it was going to be held, I was part of Sayward Futures, and I contacted the fire chief and said that I thought it was a great community initiative, and that Sayward Futures had said that they would be willing to do the hot chocolate and set up in the gazebo after the parade. And that's how that all got started. And the village wasn't involved until, I believe it was after the second year. No, the second year. Yeah. 2021.
Okay, so on discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor of receipt? Opposed? One opposed. The motion is carried. Okay, BC Salmon Farmers Association Annual General Meeting. Okay, so that council receives this information for correspondence. Pardon me, communication for information. Motion, please.
I'll move that.
Second. Oh, I need to wait. Sorry. Okay, E, BC Salmon Farm Association Annual General Meeting. The council receives this correspondence for information. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. You second?
Yeah, I'm second. Before I second, I'd just like to say I did not recuse from D, just as a note. Thank you.
You apologize. Okay, all in favor? For BC Salmon Farm Association correspondence received? Against? One, motion is carried. One opposed. Council reports, Councillor Coates. Vancouver Island Library Board. Go ahead, Councillor Coates.
I think my report
Speaks for itself.
speaks for itself. It's just kind of sad, and it kind of shocked me at the meeting that there's quite a few libraries on the island that now have to have security because of the drug situation in their communities. Kind of sad.
Agreed.
And I'm blessed that we don't have that problem here.
So I need a motion to receive the report, please.
I'll move we receive the report.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Reports of committee, resolution from the cows. We'll read these off individually. First one is that staff apply for a $25,000 LGMA Responsible Conduct Resource Administration Fund. Do I have a motion on that, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. The purchase of a new lawnmower be funded through the Growing Communities Fund.
Moved.
Second,
Second,
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. The Local Government Climate Action Reserve Fund be used for the draining improvement project.
I'll move that.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. That $265,000 of the Community Reserve Fund be used for the drain of improvement project.
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. And that staff return the grant received for the Kelsey Center Air Conditioning Project, request permission to relocate funds as an alternate project, pardon me.
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? Okay, everybody. We'll start with Councillor Paulson and work our way down.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a question about whether we've gotten any report back on the status of sending the money back or whether we can use it for another project.
There is no new information. I have not completed my discussion with UBCM on this. I understand that there are other members of council who may have ideas that they wanted to discuss with me on this topic, and we haven't had that as a discussion as yet either. So no new updates for council.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson?
Councillor Paulson has taken care of my question. Thank you.
Councillor Paulson has answered or asked what I wanted to ask.
Okay, so I went through that pretty quick. Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 6, that the Kelsey Center pool remains closed until resolved from the Strathcona Regional District. Kelsey Center Committee is received for review and discussed by council.
Move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
Discussion? Councillor Burchett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess to the mayor, to staff, do we have any projection, or maybe the mayor can answer this because you're on that committee as well, of when the results would come back? Is this 6 months? Is this a year? Is this next year?
It's not going to be quick. We had our first meeting. We're waiting to get this resolution passed before the groups can get together and discuss the information that is required. So this had to go through our council first, and it's got to go through the SRD council on Wednesday. It's got to go through the board on Wednesday because all the suggestions were from a committee of the whole. So until Wednesday, nothing's endorsed at this time. Councillor Burchett?
Yeah, so as far as timeline, we're looking at a long time here that this council, majority of council wants the pool closed.
It could be 6 months plus, yes.
I'm totally against that, for the record.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Paulson?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we have this on the list for discussion at tomorrow's special meeting? So would we, after discussion, could we talk about this at the meeting tomorrow?
It's a cow, then it'd have to be brought back to the next meeting. Again.
I think it's pretty hard to vote on it when we haven't had a discussion about when we made this resolution. We didn't realize that it was going to take 6 months or longer for keeping the pool closed.
Okay. We still have a motion on the floor. So all in favor? Opposed? 2 opposed, the motion is carried. Number 7, that staff or a third party looking to grant funding for turning water sandy dump into pay and play. That's an interesting phrase for a sandy dump. Pay and play.
I did and moved.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. CAO.
I just want to set expectation appropriately for council. This is an important resolution. The village staff capacity is, I think, beyond the workload that we currently have. We are still dealing with items from a year ago or more. This item will require dedicated resources to research, plan, and bring something back to council. And I just want council to reasonably not expect a report back probably for the remainder of this year on this topic.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Of the pay and play?
Research it? Yes.
All in favor of the motion? I'll read it again. That staff or a third party look into a grant funding for turning the water and sandy dump at the campground into a pay and play. Yes. No.
I moved it, and I believe Councillor Coates seconded.
So,
We had discussion.
okay, well, I'd like to add something. Listen, through the mayor to the CAO, I understand that staff is up to here. So there's no possible ways, like for next budget in November. I know it's close to the end of the year, but if it's not feasible, then we can wait until, I guess it'll be 2027 before we would look at maybe recouping some revenue.
This is not a fairly overly complex project in of itself. However, this year, the priority, just so laying out for council and for the public, by May 15, we have to have the budget in place. We have to have 2 bylaws adopted. maybe 3 actually, if we include fees and charges. By June 30th, we have to have the annual report completed, as well as the annual audit completed. July, August, September, lots of bylaws and policy work that have been delayed is probably going to get done at that point, plus a number of the other investigatory and other matters happening in the background also has to be dealt with. Then we shift into preparing for fiscal year 2026. But again, the elephant in the room is the drainage project. That's a $1.7 million project. I am personally stick handling that with short staffing, not just in Recreation Center, but also Public Works. That project alone is enough for the entire calendar year for this municipality this size. We have a capital project list that is, just adopted by council. So yes, something like this absolutely gets added to the queue, but the queue is quite long.
Thank you, CAO.
Okay, so all in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to the CAO. What's this, what says that staff or a third party? What does the third party, what would that be? How would that look?
It would be staff hiring a consultant effectively to do, before we can get down the path of grants, we need to have a feasibility study. We need to understand what the cost might look like to put in water and sewer stations with pay for service model. It has been done before. I have done a similar project before, so I understand some of the nuances required. But again, I'm saying this is important, but there are several other projects this organization has already started that needs to be dealt with before I get to this one.
Okay. So again, all in favor? Opposed? Everybody's opposed. The motion's defeated. Everybody. That staff investigate service request fees and create a new GL line for Public Works revenue. Motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Councillor Paulson.
I seconded it, but I just want some clarity on what this really means. I can't remember what this was about.
I think this resolution is very operational in nature. If I remember correctly from past budget discussion, this was talking about things like turn on and off services to property and making sure we have a mechanism in place to track some of these items that are being done within Public Works.
Thank you. This is the contingency fund, the highly discussed and debated contingency fund, to my understanding. No, this was the $5,000 contingency fund that was recommended for 20,000. Oh, pardon me.
No. I don't believe so. So staff investigates service request fees to create a new GL line for Public Works revenue. Again, that's operational, but we had a motion, we had a second. Correct? Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Did you vote?
Sure.
Okay, motion is carried. Number 9, that $5,000 be allocated for the contingency fund.
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
Discussion. Councillor Johnson.
I will say again, it's not enough money, $5,000 for emergencies, but thank you.
I believe the CAO said when we discussed this last time that $5,000 was not enough money and it should be $20,000, if I'm correct.
That was the discussion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Coates.
Are we able to change the amount? Can
Yeah,
we
you can
amend
make it
this
friendly.
motion?
You can. Do you go ahead?
I'll move that again be $20,000. Realizing that it should be more, but realizing our budget restraints.
Okay, discussion. Councillor Bichette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wouldn't a contingency fund be used for helping get the pool open? So here are adding money to our budget and we still have the heart of our community closed. I just don't see a point in it. We've worked through issues before, like the boiler system. When there's been a failure there, we've come to the table here and we've conducted business and we've dealt with that issue and adjusted the living budget. So if we're going to add money to a contingency fund, which it is a great idea, I mean, wouldn't we fix the pool or get the pool open and serve our community to increase the health of our community and the vibrancy, because it's pretty bad over there. And yeah, I think the priority should be that, not add money to the contingency fund.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor, through to Councillor Bichette. You might want also consider perhaps striking the $17,000 allocated to the gazebo. Thank you.
Okay.
Decided that.
We have the new motion of $20,000 for the contingency fund, correct? All in favor? CAO.
We had a mover for 5,000, which was Councillor Bichette, a seconder, Councillor Paulson. We had a friendly amendment proposed by Councillor Johnson. I'm not clear if the mover and seconded are agreement with that amendment.
Okay. The mover and seconder, are you in agreement? Yes? Was it? Okay. Okay. Councillor Bichette is not in agreement.
In that case, the $5,000 motion will stand, and if there is a subsequent motion, council can entertain that.
Okay, so on the $5,000, all in favor? Opposed? 4 opposed, the motion's defeated. Subsequent?
Subsequent, please, that the contingency fund be allocated as $20,000 for the contingency fund. Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed, the motion is carried. Okay, actionable resolutions from the Cal meeting from March 11th, 2025. Number 1, the council will hold a special meeting of council in March to discuss the priorities of the Kelsey Center. Well, that's tomorrow. Okay, we'll go to number 2. Still need to vote on it? That's a shame. Just, I really need a motion, please.
I'll move that motion.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed. The motion is carried. Number 2, the special council meeting to discuss priorities for the Kelsey Center be held on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
I'll move that.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. that staff invite a nonprofit society to oversee Sayward Health Clinic to do a presentation to council regarding the budget and funding.
I'll move that.
Second,
And second.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 4, that the parks budget for diesel for the Kubota motor be increased from $1,100 to $2,500. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 5, that a new gazebo ramp be funded from the Growing Community Fund.
I'll move that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 3 opposed, the motion's defeated.
No, we have a tie vote and the mayor gets to cast the deciding vote.
I'm not in favor of it. Number 6, that property tax rate for Class 1 residential increase by 6.61% for 2025. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Discussion? Oh, second, pardon me.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed, the motion's carried. That council approves the capital.
I just want council to be on the same page with staff. Motion number 5, given that it is not endorsed by council, this will be removed from the financial plan. Just so everyone's on the same page on this.
Okay, number 7, the council approves the capital budget as written. Have a motion, please? CAO?
We can't do resolution number 7 in light of the recent changes council just made to resolution 5. So it would be,
As amended?
I would recommend you bring this forward at another meeting.
Okay. Do we need a motion to bring it forward? You have a motion to bring this to the next council meeting.
I'll move that motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Okay. Number 10, mayor's report. Unfinished business. Draft infrastructure risk assessment criteria and framework, the AMP.
Mr. Mayor, I believe you missed an item on the agenda,
Did I?
being 9C.
Oh, I apologize. 9C, Kelsey Center Review Committee minutes. The minutes of the attached request for information, draft response will come before council on March 19th, 2025. Do I have a motion, please? Second,
Second that.
discussion? CAO?
Is it a motion to receive?
It's an attached request. Draft will come before a motion to receive. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. D, mayor's report, none. Unfinished business. Back to infrastructure risk assessment criteria and framework, AMP. Note that this draft document is subject to change. This project was initiated some time ago by council, is now being presented as a draft to review. Study, ask questions with the goal of finalizing it in the future. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With respect to council, we have on the line Stephen Olson, who is a project manager, I believe, with Urban Systems. He has direct knowledge on this product, and I would like to say that a lot of work has been done to put together this draft asset management framework for the village of Sayward. There are lots of information within there, including the need for over $51 million worth of asset replacement in the future. It also breaks down some information about water, sewer, the Kelsey Center, different assets the village carry. I would like to take this opportunity to again remind council and the audience that this is the first time you're seeing a draft of the document. This was completed in 2024. We have Stephen on the line who is going to walk you through some of high level of the document, and I anticipate in a future meeting, council will be in a position to ask more questions and also finalize those questions in order to adopt the document. Unless there is any further questions, I'd like to invite Stephen to present the material. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me all okay.
We hear you okay.
Perfect. Sounds good. I'm going to share my screen as well. Slides. Can everybody see the presentation slides?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. All right, so my name is Stephen Olson. I'm a civil engineer based out of the Courtney office with systems. I'm working with Eric Sears as well, who's been Sayward, sort of like the preliminary meetings that we've had and some review meetings to prepare some of this documentation. The work that we're doing here today was supported through a grant through FCM, Federation of Municipalities. And yeah, quick agenda here. Just want to go briefly into the project background, and then sort of step through the work that we've done, which includes a desktop risk assessment, the community's assets and infrastructure, over some of the base mapping that we have, then sort of step into a bit of like the capital priority planning for assets and their replacement, some of the implementation tools that we can use, for like asset management in general, and then some more next steps for the project as well. So some of the goals of the project were ultimately like Sayward completed asset management reports in 2016 and 2019, but we wanted to update them, make them more realistic and implementable for staff. Also come up with new strategies for assets, come up with clear project priorities, also determine manageable funding strategies, and sort of making that work with the length of the budgets that Sayward has to operate the assets that they own. Some of the base mapping that we've pulled from Strathcona Regional District and the village of Sayward are highlighted here. This is pages sort of put together to show like a quick overview of the main part of the village of Sayward. Highlights the sewer, the water main, and the drainage infrastructure. Zooming in, you can kind of see the information that we have available, which are like asset numbers, size of the infrastructure, materials, date of the installation of a lot of this infrastructure. This sort of mapping can be quite useful for village staff when they're completing day-to-day operations or maintenance planning activities. Then we can also adjust these and sort of curate them as you need them. So only showing water, sewer, drain on like individual drawings. These, like this information that we have presented here, can be used as part of our desktop risk assessment, which sort of goes into itemizing and breaking down all of the different assets that the village owns, whether it be roads, water, storm, sewer, buildings, and equipment and vehicles. Those assets are of like varied ages and conditions currently. when we look at the overall village, there's a breakdown sort of highlighting the values of all the infrastructure that Sayward has. And as a part of our risk assessment, we assign values for likelihood of failure and consequences of failure to identify what are the biggest priority items. So some of the work that we do is assigning a value for consequence of failure, which could be something like the water treatment plant or a lift station, which a lot of people rely on in the village. And then the other part is the likelihood of failure of the asset. The way that we've broken it down in our report is determining based on the service life of the asset. Some of the water mains were installed in like 1968. So they're reaching their service life of like 80 years or 65 years, depending on what that asset is. The older the asset gets, the larger the number. These are multiplied together to come up with a overall risk number. And assets are then organized into a table. I'll quickly show this screen here, and you end up breaking down what are the highest risk assets within the village. There's a lot of information, but you can also schedule and forecast.
So Stephen, we would need a magnifying glass to see that. If
I'll
you could
skip
use
through that.
if you could use an example or two, that would be awesome if you zoom in.
Sure, yeah. I'll go back to this, but just using the example of the lift station, it might have a service life of 50 years and it would need to be replaced at a specific timeline. And that has a certain value. So when we start to map out all of the village's assets, we can determine like an annual life cycle investment that we would need to appropriately maintain the village's assets. This is shown on the graph down here, the date, and then like the approximate value that would need to go into maintaining those assets. You can see there's a large spike here around 2028. This represents a lot of the village's infrastructure that was installed in 1968 reaching its service life. And in reality, we would look to spread this peak out
Right now.
over many years.
Sorry to interject. Do you have any problem taking questions on the page?
No, for sure. Yeah, I'm open
Nope.
to questions
Okay,
now.
thank you. Councillor Johnson, go ahead.
Thank you so much. So I know that one diagram was fairly complex to read, lots of information on that. But if you don't mind, I just want to point out that most of the assets are 92% of life. They go as high as 270%, with the youngest life at 56, being one item, 66 one item. The rest are 92 and up. So I think that's important to note. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. So overall, the village has a lot of like aging infrastructure within the community, which is important to note as we move forward. Any other questions so far?
No, we're good right now. Thank you.
So this value here represents the average annual investment that would be required over a long period of time to replace the infrastructure as it meets its service life. This value wouldn't account for like alternatives to replacement. Using the lift station as an example, we could look to like maintaining it. So like replacing a pump specifically that might be nearing the end of its life. And it might have a lower cost, but I'll get into that in a little bit. The other point I want to add is some assets may end up lasting longer than their estimated service life. Water mains, for an example, asbestos concrete, we've identified as like an average failure age of like 65 years. But in other areas, we've seen it lasting much longer than that. And it really depends on the conditions of where it's installed and how it was installed. So it's a little bit of an estimate. But using the entire city as an average, you'd hope to spread out sort of any peaks and costs. So the next slide, the sort of from the risk assessment, we've prepared a capital priority plan, which is sort of later into the document that we've prepared, and it outlines recommended projects that the village focuses on. And in there is a bit of a variety of like cost of projects and urgency and variation. And these projects were chosen based on like high risk items, but also from input from village staff. And overall, with like a high risk item that's identified, like the lift station replacement, there's a lift station itself, but then there's also water main that runs in parallel with the force main. So as a part of that project, we would hope to sort of reduce overall costs or like save money on replacing multiple things together. So in this capital priority plan, we've pulled out 10 different projects. I'm showing 6 just to have it zoomed in a little bit more, in approximate values. And these values would include like engineering design fees, project management fees, and replacement costs at like a high level. And these are then able to be used for council and staff for their planning. Here we show sort of the example set of projects that have been pulled out, highlighting different areas within the village that may need to be replaced in the future. Earlier I mentioned that there's like alternates to full replacements, something like the lift station. We may want to have like somebody that's qualified to come out to do a condition assessment, such as like a mechanical contractor, and they might determine that the pump impeller's worn and the gate valve might not be holding pressure. And the estimated cost of repairing that item could be much lower than the overall cost of replacing it. All of the identified projects, I think, deserve like a more thorough investigation before just blindly moving ahead with them. But as a part of our risk assessment, these are the ones that we want to look at more in depth.
Sorry, we have another question for you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Just a quick question for you. I see that you've got $75,000 there. I'm just wondering if I'm looking at an older report, as I've got 35,000 on mine.
Yeah.
20. Yeah.
I've updated some of the numbers just to reflect costs that we're kind of seeing on other projects. So the numbers here are rough estimates, and we'd want to get like a updated quote from a contractor.
Okay, thank you.
Specific for Sayward, so yeah.
Hey, Stephen, if you're updating numbers, can we have a conversation offline?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're willing to update them all.
And then overall, like the part of the work that we've done is sort of going into the implementation of an asset management program. Something that we might want to do, and we have prepared is like a maintenance management plan to maintain the assets within the city. On the side here is like all of the different tasks that the operator might do as a part of their yearly operations. And then each one of these tasks has a page that sort of identifies how many people would be assigned to that, the estimated time, and then a quick description of the tasks. And this would be created for like redundancy in any cases where there might be absence of the operators, or like moving forward in the future, seeing what the cost or operations need there might be. for working within the city.
If I may, I just want council to really grasp the magnitude of that maintenance management plan. There needs to be, in my opinion, a wholesale rethink of how the public works currently operates. And having a maintenance management plan is fundamental to ensuring at least we have some documentation, some routine schedule of maintenance that are happening to village assets. Because right now, it's in the minds of our employees. It's not documented appropriately, in my opinion. And having this approved eventually by council and instituted organizationally is going to be a hard and fast requirement for us to change the way we operate in the public works.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, CAO. I'm glad you brought that up. I think this particular part of the work that was going to be done, first of all, I was going to ask if this was designed by Urban Systems. Second of all, I was going to note that this is absolutely brilliant, well put together. My question is there now a drop-down approach? Meaning, is this calendarized by position and by frequency so that can go to the individual roles as well? And second to that, I noticed that the price estimate, whenever this was done, was $98,000 in labor. And just as for our capital cost, I just wanted to ask if this was used in calculation for labor, because this is just, what we know needs to get done to facilitate the work and the checks to keep everybody safe. Obviously, we'll need more labor than this, but 98,000 was the price estimated in 2021, I believe, or was this, no, 2024, pardon me. Yeah. I guess what my question is $98,000 is the cost of estimated labor, right? As part of this plan? Your microphone.
For Public Works Department?
Yes. So if I can refer you to page 157. So 98,000 in my mind seems to be the price of the labor to facilitate this work. If this plan is implemented, we will need to make sure that this labor is in the financial plan, coupled with what we believe labor will be for other aspects of operations. And I'm just wondering if that was factored in.
There are a couple of things broken out for that total of 98,000. So you have general administration, you have water system, wastewater system, you have water system, and you have stormwater system and vehicle and equipment. I am not able to answer you at this specific moment if the exact listing of deliverables here are factored into our operating costs. What I will say is we have ongoing work in each of these categories, and it hasn't surfaced as the financials being inadequate at this point. Does that answer?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, we haven't approved these plans, so there's room. I just wanted to comment that if we were going to adopt the plan itself, then we need a method of paying for it, obviously, right? So. That makes sense?
Yes and no. It makes sense that we need a method of paying for it. But what I'm saying is, for example, let's use water system. It says intake inspection, $4,000 every 5 years. We need to make sure that that is scheduled every 5 years. But I was hoping for something, intake flushing. I know we do flushing in the system when there are issues. I don't know if we do it specifically according to the schedule here. I know we have financing for a full-time manager, a part-time utility operator working 30 hours a week, and now we have 2 casual employees who are substituting for the full-time manager, the hours anyways. And so I think once the plan is accepted, I think there needs to be an implementation process and an assessment of what we need to change budgetarily, operationally in terms of task management in order to implement as designed. Back to you, Stephen.
Thank you. Yeah, I think some of those values were put out as a like placeholder or draft for now until costs can be confirmed with the village. And we're looking to like update and adjust as or to suit and as needed. So yeah. Moving on, another part of the program that we did were updates to the asset management policy and strategy. Part of that is like coming up with a maintenance management plan and updating it, updating asset inventories as new things are added. So if the drainage infrastructure project is installing new infrastructure, that's added into the overall village's maintenance. And confirming like standards and levels of service. The policy would also like want to update long-term funding and incorporating like full life cycle costs for operations and like eventual disposal. We also looked at the asset management strategy and sort of broke out some tasks and responsibilities and timelines for different individuals to update and sort of keep the asset management program current with the village's needs. That was a pretty quick review of like the memos that were provided. I think now we would be looking for a review from village and council staff of the documents that were provided to date and formalize any feedback and questions that you have for the documents that were provided. We'd like to adjust and finalize the completed reports, notably some of the budgetary numbers in there, and then confirm and identify any priority projects that the village has. Also reviewing the funding levels and then identifying any potential grant sources for the projects that were identified. So, questions?
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Just when I reviewed the capital plan, 739,000 odd some dollars was budgeted for replacement of a building here in the village. Can you speak to that and tell me if that was just based on date of build alone, or if there was other factors involved with that?
I believe that was just done on date of build. So we don't have like detailed, or we didn't go on site and do detail assessments of each and every one of the buildings. So in general, they're put in there as placeholders and sort of overall high level budgetary numbers.
Go ahead.
Again, this one might be for the CAO. Now with a shared services agreement, I draw your attention to page 67. Priority 1 and priority 2. Priority 1 being, up for replacement within 5 years. Priority 2, 5 to 15. Two things were identified: 287,500 for fire rescue 33, 587 for fire rescue number 3 plus breather apparatus. Is that something now that can be sort of changed now that we've got a shared services agreement? Is that an SRD responsibility at this point?
It would be an SRD responsibility because the fire service is housed under SRD. However, the village will be contributing to the capital cost. And so it will certainly fall on this table as well.
No, capital cost is 50, is it not?
I don't remember the split for capital off the top of my head. I know the village was contributing $50,000 from gas tax for the first 5 years, each year for 5 years, a total of $250,000. I don't remember, plus operating costs of 40%, but I don't remember if it's a 50-50 split.
I believe it was 50. You believe it's 50 as well? Okay, thank you. Councillor Johnson?
Thank you. I draw your attention to page 87, priority assets. So this is ongoing, I believe. I just wanted to understand numberings from 1 through 5. Is that identified in order of priority, or is this just numbering everything that we have on the list?
Page 87 of our package. It's not 87 of your package necessarily, Stephen. What we're looking at is a table called Table 4, Asset Infrastructure Sample Priority Projects. I would argue that this is not necessarily based on age of assets, because we've seen some assets that are over 200% past their useful life. I think what may be of value for each of the category for water, sewer, buildings, etc. I think it might be valuable for council in a committee of the whole in the future to look at them and say, okay, which one is the most important priority for the community, and go from there.
I'll just add, when I prepared this document, I believe that there's like 5 or 6 different water projects specifically that all came up with a risk value of like 15 to 12, and it would push all the other projects sort of out of a top 10 list. So if there's specific funding for water main projects or say building projects, we want to sort of highlight a variety of categories.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Taking a look at now our package, page 68, how much money to invest. This recommends $800,000 a year be put away towards rehabilitating or replacing assets. Obviously, that's not feasible. Is this just based on priority 1 and 2 work, or is this sort of an estimate for all priority levels being 1, 2, and 3?
That would be for all infrastructure as it meets its replacement age.
Okay, so
in that memo, sort of only looks at replacing at condition like of service life end. The second memo, the capital asset, the capital priority plan, we look at like reducing the cost by extending service lives to a more reasonable number. So tables 6, 7, and 8 of the capital priority plan.
Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, is this under 3.9 for linear infrastructure? Is this not limited to that? Or are you saying those figures are for the whole plan, different asset classes?
The 30-year replacement cost with an average annual investment of 800,000 is for all linear and equipment and building costs.
Okay, thank you. And as for council, you could absolutely put aside 800,000. It means you close every other service you offer to the community.
And
That's the
double
reality.
taxes.
Well,
Yeah.
No, it's not double.
It's not double. It's, yeah.
7.
Yes, there was.
Page 91.
Sorry, page 90 speaks to taxation if you wanted to have a look at that.
Okay. Any additional questions? Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry, last question is, I know that priority one is, 1 to 5 years, but you've identified some pretty glaring things, and I thank you for that in water and sewer. Just for the council's purpose, are we going to break those out a little further into, well, 1 to 5 years is great, but obviously, some of those are way past life. So is some of that more pressing than others, I guess is my question. So that would be the page. So case in point, sewer on page 65, priority one items are 500,000. Page 65.
Stephen, it's page 6 of 12 for you.
Yeah, so that 500,000 would represent the lift station that's at the Kelsey campground, I believe. And based on like it being a priority one asset, it's highlighted in that table. And through the risk assessment, like this would be an example of a project that would be worth doing a condition assessment on and determining what needs to be replaced for that specific asset. And to highlight, most of the villages sewer water gets pumped to that lift station or flows to that pump station, and if it were to fail, there'd be consequences to that. The other one that I want to highlight is the city's water system. Comes from the water treatment plant and sort of splits into the city, and there's like 1 to 2 main pipes that the whole village is based off of, and it's based on like a 1968 pipe that's asbestos concrete. It may be in okay condition, and if there's a break, you just need to be repaired, but there's like 2 different methods of like operating it. It's like fixing and patching leaks or replacing in advance of something happening. So there's different methods of addressing aging infrastructure. This is just through the asset management plan what's coming to the surface.
Thank you for that. So we're a little dire on a few fronts for sure. I appreciate all the work you put into this, and thank you for all the putting up with all my questions here.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? No? Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks, Stephen. I'll touch base with you separately.
Okay, the council receives this report for information and discussion.
Move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
thank you. Discussion. Councillor Coates.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just reading this report, I think there's some tough decisions that need to be made, and we need to start saving some money.
Any further discussion? Councillor Johnson.
Just one point of consideration. I mean, there will be grant funding for a lot of this, but again, funding models look like between 50 and 20% of own source. So I think that's really got to be a focus. I mean, obviously we can't fund this all ourselves. Grants are going to be necessary, but building up some resources to be able to do the own source contribution is, I think, an absolute priority in light of assets, the asset report that we're seeing where, 90s are average, 270s. We've definitely done well using the assets that are there, but it's getting dire. Thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor? Oh, CAO?
I think as a baseline going forward, council may want to start adding to its budget condition assessments for before major upgrades are explored. I think this council would benefit from having a specific asset management workshop to look at each of the memo one at a time. So water, just look completely at water, sewer, buildings, vehicles, equipments, etc., and confirm what your priorities are, because if that lift station from 1968 fails, things might flow uphill, up to. I apologize for my for my lack of professionalism or diplomacy there, but effluent will flow uphill, and I think that's going to be a very bad day for Sayward.
Go ahead.
CO Thomas, how do you recommend that we approach what you've just said? You need a motion to be able to set that aside. I think you'd have a better understanding of us as to what to set aside for condition assessments, or do we want to establish dates for how do you recommend we proceed?
I think council will be discussing this again tomorrow. It's in the package that went out just before the start of this meeting. I think over the summer months would be ideal for you to start nailing these priorities down in anticipation of your budget in the fall. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor on receipt? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Staff reports, grants opportunity, Fire Smart programming. That the report from the acting CAO be received.
I'll move that.
Second.
Second that.
Thank you. Discussion? Councillor Coates?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if it's just a typo or maybe this includes TASIS, but on page 168, it says 3 members of TASIS, Volunteer Fire Department. Typo, thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. And that the part of the Village of Sayward's ongoing working relations with wildfire risk reduction and the application for financial assistance under the Community Resilience Investment 2025 to 2026 Fire Smart Community and Funding Support Grant be authorized for submission to the UBCM, that the Village of Sayward commits and his willingness to provide overall grant management if the application is successful. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in, Councillor Paulson?
I just have a comment. This is one indication of why it's so important for us to maintain our membership with UBCM, because they do a lot of work for the municipalities in getting grants like this.
Agreed. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B, Water System Inspection Report. March 10th, members of council are charged with governance of the village and are responsible for ensuring steps are taken, funding primarily, to ensure deficiencies identified in the inspection report are remedied in a timely manner. Recommendation that council receives this inspection report for information and that the acting CAO take all necessary steps to achieve compliance, including presenting cost estimates, for the completion of an emergency response plan and facilitating the required staff training. Motion, please.
I'll move that, but I would like to break them out to two separate ones if we can.
It's too late. No, if he moves it, isn't it? He can withdraw.
Okay, I won't use, yes, I'll withdraw.
So which one do you want first?
We can receive the report, no problem.
Okay, on receipt. All in favor?
Yep. I'll move it.
Councillor Polson, second. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Okay, second part. Go ahead, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. I think what we're looking at here for scope is not a nice to have, it's a must have. So I trust that the CEO can make the appropriate decisions to bring us up to compliancy. So I think just bringing information back to council is just furthering the amount of time required. So I'd like to move that the CEO take all necessary steps to achieve compliance, period.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? CAO?
Does council want to give me a budget to work with?
No.
CEO, this is a compliance issue, so it's I trust that you'll make the right decisions. But in terms of a budget for compliancy is not necessarily compliancy. So no, if we give you a budget and it costs dollars above that to get done, it will have to come again back to council. That takes away from the time to get the scope of work done to reach compliancy.
What are you thinking in terms of dollars? Do you have a number in mind?
The 5,000 contingency is probably going to get wiped out by this one action. The tentative plan that we're working on to achieve this. So just so council is aware, I participated in the inspection with VIHA. So did Lauren, who is our water operator for the plant at the moment. The idea is for Lauren and his team to develop a emergency response plan and to support the training and implementation of our current public works team. There will be a cost associated with Lauren putting this together, and obviously it has to be vetted by VIHA. So the contingency is basically gone at this point, and I may need more. I don't know.
You still didn't give a number.
I said 5,000 to start.
We had 20,000 and we voted for 20,000 in the constituent.
Oh, great. Then I think we should be okay with the 20.
Okay.
I don't know. That's why I said get an estimate.
Well, we have 20,000 in our constituency. First, it was Councillor Coates, then Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to say that, yes, we just put 20 in the contingency, so that should help.
Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do believe we should accept it as written. I'd like to see some estimates and some costing for this and some hard numbers. I just don't think it's the right idea to undermine the CAO's recommendation. We just should go with it, get the costs, and definitely meet compliance. But do it as written.
Councillor Johnson.
Sorry, for clarity, nobody's undermining the CAO. I put this motion forward to expedite the process. This is a compliancy issue, and this is our water system. So I recommend that we give the CEO the benefit of the doubt that he will do this as efficiently as possible in the shortest amount of time possible to bring us to compliancy.
Okay, so where are we? That was a discussion.
You have a motion to that the acting CEO take all necessary steps to achieve compliance. I don't have written who moved and who seconded.
Okay, do we have a second? I thought Councillor Paulson did.
I'll second it.
Okay, further discussion? Councillor Coates seconded. Councillor Burchett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report was done, the inspection is from November 30th, 2023. That's a little old, so I mean, we've been uncompliant for that long. So, I don't know what, the rush is. We should just get the right numbers, look at it, and, deal with it.
Okay, no further discussion. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. The motion is carried. Emergency Service Public Work Recreation Department statistics. The council receives this report for information. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. One of the questions that I have, the numbers that are on there, say it says 27 town site people. Is that how many? Could that be the same person coming 27 times, or is that 27 different people? Pardon me?
I don't know the answer. I could take that back and get back to council.
Please. Thank you. Okay. They shouldn't leave the room.
Just a safety.
Yeah, health and safety. We're good? It's all good. One more for where? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, CEO. If we could also find out, like, I understand, I got mixed feedback. Like Muay Thai is a charge program or it's free. I got feedback to both. If I can just get clarification of that when it's available.
So Muay Thai for teens is free because it's funded by donations, and it's a paid programming for adults and other people. Teens are free.
Okay. So all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Bylaws, none. New business, none. Public question period. Anybody from the public? Yes, one moment. The purpose of public question period, citizens ask the question in council and important to the citizen asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their questions to one each. If time permits, you might have an opportunity to ask the second question. Citizens, please state your name and address. Oh, no, it went off.
Me to hold it?
No.
Sherry Braun, 713 Ruby Road. I also work at the Kelsey Center. Last meeting, there was a line item in the budget that I had a question about. It was the 70,000 for the boilers, and it was put under recreation. So my question to you is that an appropriate place for that 70,000 to go as a line item? Because I feel it's infrastructure buildings. So that was just my question. Is it just a typo, or was there a reason it has to be under recreation?
CFO?
Good question. The boilers are part of a building for sure, but it is part of the recreation building, the Kelsey Center, which also houses the pool, which also houses all the other pieces. Can we classify it as part of buildings? We can. I don't know that it hurts to have it where it's at. I think the most important part is that council earmarks the money to fix the boilers.
Okay, that's just was my question was that where it needed to be. Well, as long as we can earmark it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just for council's information and to form part of the record, the boilers are fully installed. We're waiting on one contractor to return this Friday actually to do some programming so that the boilers does not stay on 24/7. Rather, it turns on when it is necessary for heating purposes and turns off when it is not needed.
Excellent. Okay, in camera. In accordance with section 92 of the community charter, this council meeting will be closed to the public at this time in order for council may be considerations to the matter in accordance with the following sections of the community charter. 90-1C, labor relations and other employee relations. 90-1I, the receipt and advice for client, solicitor client privilege and communication necessary for the purpose. It's all good. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. We will reconvene in 10 minutes.